Hi everyone. So here is Moonlight Soul and Marissa from Growing the Flow, and we are presenting to you the final stars and cards of 2024, the episode 32, where we'll be talking about the energies for the month of December. Hello, Marissa.
Hello, we made it. We're in the final stretch.
With Mercury retrograde.
And Mercury retrograde. Imagine meeting here. I know when we pick this day, we're like, all right, let's do it. We'll see how it goes. Whatever comes up is all part of the messages. So
Yeah, well, Mercury retrograde all takes us inwards. And anyway, you have natally Mercury retrograde, so it's all good. We should be protected.
I feel right at home being upside down. No.
Well, my Mercury is trine by Uranus, so I'm not far behind you.
Oh, what a pair. Well, yeah. So I'm really very curious to see what comes up because we're really kind of culminating this year. We're poised of course, we're recording ahead of the first. So we're sort of in between right now and um, really looking to see kind of what's laying the groundwork for this last month of one calendar year and then stepping into the frequency of a new one, even though we've definitely been playing around in those waters of 2025 already. So,
Oh, for sure. And this is the first of the three new years because we're going to have the Chinese one again, and then it's going to be the astrological year with the equinox. So we slowly but surely heading towards the solstice. So that's going to be interesting as well. So there are just so many things I feel, so many things happening in December with Mars station in retrograde and Venus
mhm.
Pluto conjunction in Aquarius for the second time this year, and then Pluto's gonna trine the South Node at the end of the year, and free lunations. Let's not forget we have free
Yeah.
lunations just loaded.
Yeah, as they say, things come in threes. And so let's finish, go big or go home. We're finishing the year with three lunations in the month of December. Like pretty much every point of the month that we'll be talking about today is covered with a new moon, full moon, and oh yeah, another new moon just at the end for Capricorn season to come in and take the baton from Sagittarius, where we find ourselves now. So
And we know that we had a very strong Capricorn lunations this year because we begin the year with the Capricorn New Moon, and then we had the two in the middle of the summer, and now we're going to end with it. So, I mean, this literally is like it's time to take the responsibility to become the conscious creator of your reality, ready or not.
yeah, ready or not, it's time. And that's where I feel this culmination energy, graduation, because those are all energies of the number nine, which is what we're stepping into in the new year. But like, yeah, like you said, it's definitely going to be in these waves of moments that we have where we bring in the solstice, the turning of the wheel, the seasons, a lot of energy that's put into the holidays and traditions that are around the context that we give this time period. And then, yeah, all of those benchmarks, calendar year, the Chinese New Year, the zodiac year, all of it. So we'll be moving through all of it to come, but here and now we're in getting ready for December, and we're gonna pull some cards here to see what's coming up for us collectively
Yeah, I'm
to
super
tune in.
curious as well. So let's
Now,
dive in.
let's get to it. So we're going to start with the Queen of the Moon, just picking one card that's sort of giving us a little flavor into this trio for the month. And then we'll get into our tarot for beginning, middle, and end. And then we'll finish off at the end with a special oracle card from another one of our favorite decks.
Sounds good.
So let's see. Queen of the Moon, we're setting the tone for the December lunations and getting some insight into what is it? New moon in Sagittarius, full moon in Gemini, and new moon in Capricorn,
Capricorn.
right? And that's a black moon. When you have two new moons in one month, instead of a blue moon, it's a black moon. So let's see what's coming there. It just caught my eye. We've got that card of the supermoon attraction,
Oh
angel
wow, and it must have a
44.
frequency, 44. Number
Yeah, giving a little fanfare to the year eight that we're in and how we have been in this. And I feel like this is a good point that we're revisiting a lot of that energy of manifestation, abundance, and really tapping into that choice point, and this is something we were talking about before we came on here is, carrying through what you tapped into from the beginning of the year being so much about choice. And also, as I was just kind of preparing for my 2025 readings, again, revisiting the number 8, and that infinity symbol is also a symbol of balance. It's also a symbol of finding that balance point, that middle point, and that ideally, that being perhaps where we wish to make our choices from, right? So if we make a choice, it's kind of like when you're like running around and I always say to people like, oh, sorry for the things I said when I was hangry. You're hungry, you're frustrated, and it's like, I don't know, I'm just making choices from a place that's not balanced. So it's like that coming back to that choice point, balance point, the frequency of 8, there's so much potential there. But this is that card that reminds us of like, well, what do you wish to attract in? Because whatever it is that you're holding, whatever frequency it is that you're in, is what you are sending out to the universe, like the bat signal calling in, that's what you want. So it's really about being very intentional around what we're attracting and what we're repelling too, looking at both ends of that.
Yeah, and it's so interesting to me with regards to the astrology, because of course, as we mentioned, Mercury just stationed retrograde, and Mercury and Jupiter have a mutual reception because Mercury is in Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is in Gemini, ruled by Mercury, and they are having 3 oppositions. The first one already happened. The second one is going to take place after the new moon in Sag, and the last one towards the end of the month, I think 27th. And it's very interesting because this is literally it, like the balance point, the reevaluation of your thoughts, beliefs, everything that we learned throughout this year of 8, which was building our strength, which was building us up towards this possibility to manifest anything, because 8 is the number associated with Saturn and Jupiter. So the strength, the power, the strength card is Leo, is your sun, is your creativity. It is within you. And this year, I feel for many of us, and what we have been experiencing and will be experiencing, we are all learning so many things. We are reevaluating, especially Mercury retrograde, Jupiter retrograde. We are reevaluating everything. What we believe, what are we thinking? Is this serving me? Is this not serving me? What do we value? Who am I? What is my purpose? This is all going on. So this is so interesting because also having the 2 new moons in 1 month, the Sagittarius is always about seeding of the new story, of the new horizon you wish to be exploring. With the Gemini Full Moon is about the choice, the illumination of the choices. What are you choosing? And Mercury is actually going to station direct after the moon climaxes, so it's going to be still retrograde for the peak of the full moon in Gemini. And then we close the year with this new moon in Capricorn, which is all about, okay, now you made your choice, you decided on the story, and now this Capricorn is going to bring it into manifestation. It's the self-mastery. So this is, I think, a perfect card to cover all 3 lunations.
Yeah, that's great because it does. It feels like I was feeling like I could like pull those 2 4s apart and then tap into that frequency of the 4 of like the structure, so again, if it's not that clear, especially because of the retrogrades and everything, then it is about just kind of being in this place of like the framework and what's working, what's not, continuing to move through that process as we kind of reevaluate everything. And then on the other side, the 4 of building the new structure, the new foundation that we can then put into practice. But it's big, it's in our face. You can't not see it, right? It's that super moon, like it's powerful. So it really is about, just sitting. And also you can see that she's just sitting with it. There's not a lot of maybe movement at this point, even though, like I said, I feel kind of like pulled back and forth. Oh, Sagittarius season, the sparks, the wands, all of this stuff that's coming in. And then also the retrograde, the slowing down, the sort of being, patient and being in this state of sort of getting that clarity before we take action. So yeah, I feel like that's really covering all the bases for these lunations.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And with the retrograde energy, it will always pull you inward. So I feel that this is the main work that is taking place at the moment, is happening on the inside. Like we're creating this new foundation, just like you said, we're creating the new foundation for the future, but the reality is really created from inside out. We just didn't know it before. We weren't aware of it. So now if we want to create the reality that we want, then we need to have the foundation, the roots have to be strong for the tree to grow and to bear the fruit. So yes, even though we are in a Sagittarius season, which is all about this, like, okay, let's get going, you know, this optimism, let's go and have some adventures over here. But do I want to create it from the place of where I was or where I want to go? You know, so this is the foundational aspect of it, which will always take you inside, because if you change, reality around you has to change. If you don't change, you're just going to keep recreating the same reality, because it has to be a frequency match.
Yeah, so again, we're directed back in, and this is something that I know we were talking about in our November to Remember, because we got that Tower card in the middle of the month, and then when we met up to do our live on Instagram, we really took a look at that Tower card, and we talked about those inner Tower moments versus the outer Tower. So yeah, it's like things are kind of imploding first, like coming in, which again is readying us for that Year of the Hermit coming up, all about the introspection, all about the inner light first, and then shining that out. So it all seems to be very synchronized here as it's coming forward. That we'll, of course, see how that continues to unfold uniquely through each of those lunations, but it definitely does seem to be reflecting that for sure. So let's pull our tarot cards to bring in, because I'm super curious. This is about the first. I know.
We have
Curious.
things going on
Oh,
in our personal lives. I'm like, yeah, let me know.
yeah, what's coming up? Like, this is going to be our first taste of the December energies coming in here, which again, as the collective comes in, we're just sort of tapping in here to an overarching beginning, middle, end of the month, but they all work together and weave that story. Meeting with our free will, and always invited to take what resonates and leave what doesn't, because there's always something. And even in ways that we didn't even realize, revisiting some of the cards and seeing them from a whole different perspective now. It's so
Absolutely.
interesting. All right, there's the first one. Ah, justice, major, detach. So
Balance.
this is this karmic scales and balancing that's coming in peace, though. I love that with the dove. Um, yeah, that's a beautiful version of the justice card, because it really shows that. Also, I'm feeling this like seasonal changes and things here too. And
And it is the number 11, the master number frequency.
yeah, all right. Middle of the month.
Full moon in Gemini.
Yes. Ah, Five of Cups. Change your
Okay.
focus. Change your focus. So I think a shift in gears may be there, in terms of the way that we're seeing circumstances and the way that we're perceiving loss, the way that we're perceiving grief, and maybe like the focus that we've been giving to it, and having an opportunity to switch our gaze. And she's looking to the future, because we're going to pull this last card for the end of the month. Last card. Nine of Swords.
Oh, we had this one before.
Yes, darkest fears. Okay, that monkey mind doesn't go easily. Kicking and screaming. But it ends here right now. Wow, and all the different phases of the moon. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see. So we start off with the major. We've got the cups bringing us into the feels, the emotion, and then the air element of the swords, the thoughts, the beliefs, the mind. So bringing together the heart and the head with this karmic balancing that has to take place with this energy of the justice card coming in.
Hmm.
And yeah, like I was saying, the way that it's depicted here, it's like she's detaching from that winter scene. There's like a winter scene there, but I love that she's holding the dove, and also she looks very neutral. She's not very, there isn't really any much emotion showing, just like with this card too. It's just kind of an observant point of view, but again, holding on to that in peace, like the frequency through which I'm moving through this detachment, changing of my focus, and facing my darkest fears is one that's coming from a place of peace, and also perhaps a wider understanding of what it all serves when it comes to that winter, that more bleak time versus stepping into a new chapter or some type of the justice is going to bring in all the legal, making a ruling or coming to a decision there that, the jury could be out on, because we're still determining that here at this point at the beginning of the month.
Well, I'm just like, if I look at all these cards separately, like of course, especially because of my personal circumstances, like the ego just kicks in and just weaves the worst possible story.
That's why my face was like that with this card.
Past, exactly. So I'm like straight away redefining and restructuring my definitions, and I'm looking at it from the best possible outcome, from the higher perspective, where I weave these cards together. And what I then perceive is, what you and I were discussing quite a lot recently. It's about these new Aquarian dynamics with regards to how we're going to be relating to one another and co-creating this new life of this new age of Aquarius, which is from this place of neutrality, harmony, balance. And this is sounds great, but much harder done than it's much more difficult to put it is in the practice, because it literally requires for us to remove the attachments, to allow the ego to go to the back seat and the higher self to take the precedence, to take the driving wheel, and to just detach, to just go like, whatever's happening is serving the highest good of all. And who am I to know everybody's contract, Libra, legalities, a soul contract, that what is meant to be happening here. So I really feel, and especially because it is the number 11, which is the master number frequency. So I'm tapping into this, like, we are mastering this hero's journey, like what we're really trying to always get to in every incarnation is this point of neutrality from which a new energy can be birthed. So it's like neutralizing the old karma. So these all three cards speak to me of the same thing, that whether this is personally in individual experience or collectively, there will be situation coming up that will be probably triggering very strong emotions and bringing up these old thoughts, old stories, old patterns, this Nine of Swords. Like the ego will straight away fill in the story and tells you all the worst reasons why this is happening and all the rest of it. And the Five of Cups, like, oh my God, all my cups are spilled. What am I going to do? Is the end of the world? Look at the state of the world, look at the state of everything. And if we just try to zoom out and look at it from the higher perspective and detach, and at the same time, rather than look at these emotions we are experiencing as, oh, now I'm doomed, but like, okay, yeah, what is this reminding me? What is this pain coming out to help me to understand, to teach me? What is it still in me that is unhealed, that is responding in potentially this extreme way? And then we can master our emotion, not regulate. I'm very now conscious of the word regulate your emotions because of the connotation it can be attached to. And rewrite the story, rewrite the monkey mind, this Nine of Swords, put the end of our ego mind controlling our life. Because whatever you think, you then create a belief around this Mercury Jupiter opposition we were talking about, and then you will manifest it, because you will need to see the manifestation of that belief to then consciously decide by having the experience, is this still working for me or not? So all these three cards are technically saying about us trying to learn our lesson, balance the karma, put a stop to past, and choose differently.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely, all of that. And it's, yeah, because if you look at them all individually versus as a story, you're going to get different messages and different perspectives, which is good. And all of them are valid. So it's like you could just get so much from one thing. And the first thing I was hearing with this one is a phrase that was coming up for me a lot, and in some of the personal readings I was doing, which is, it's not personal, it's vibrational. And so it's saying that the things that we are finding ourselves detaching from or detaching from us, that this tendency to immediately try to analyze and use the mind to glean like an understanding and to try to like get ahead of figuring it all out and understanding, why is this thing leaving? Why am I losing this? Why is this no longer in my cup? It's not personal, it's vibrational. So as we start to really step into embracing this old new. It was here the whole time, but we didn't see it before, understanding about just how powerful we are in creating our own realities. And that it does start within with these old structures that we're pulling away. And as we do that, becoming aware that it is all about vibration. It's all about frequency. So that when that changes within us, then our environments change. Then that means, like, you know, our habits, our patterns, the people, the places, the things that then are attracted to us and that we're attracted to, it changes to meet that vibration. So it's not personal, it's vibrational, is one of the things that came to me there, you know, because like I said, she looks very just like neutral about it. It's not personal, but I love the dove. Like I said, it's bringing in that layer of stepping forward in peace and with a sense of there's a time and a season again for everything. And that as that karmic wheel turns and we talk about, you know, the changing of the seasons in this month and such, that it starts to create a new path forward. And in order to decide where to from here, we are best served to sit with for a moment all of the things that have transpired, which is going to include the gains, the losses, you know, and that's kind of where the Five of Cups brings us into evaluating, you know, what is filling us up and what is no longer filling us up, or what has spilled. And, you know, rather than perseverating on trying to get those contents back in or hold on to something tightly, there's this opportunity for us in peace to allow. And one of the things I always say about this card is she gives me Mother Mary vibes, you know, not with any religious connotation, but for obvious reasons, the way that she is. And I'm sort of getting this energy of these two cards sort of working through the divine mother energy of just being this steady, the way that she's looking at the other card. It feels like, again, when we witness like a toddler having a tantrum, which I think we talked about that. Was that on the live when we were talking about that and you were giving
Yeah, it was on the IG live here, Instagram live.
somebody was watching with their daughter and was like, "Oh, thank you. My kids really appreciated the reference to the cookies," because we were saying when they want a cookie before dinner, and you're like, "No, you're not having a cookie. We're about to have dinner," you know? And it's like the mind is the toddler. The mind is that tendency to want to, you know, go there. And this feels like an energy that in the midst of the loss, in the midst of the things that are shifting, there's a new perspective. Change your focus. And focus is another keyword that's been coming up a lot for us in terms of where you're directing your energy. And that's not cutting it, right? That's not working anymore. The darkest fears, living and deciding from that place, creating from that. I always see these moons moving around like a menu that like circles around in your mind's eye, that you're like choosing from all these different sides of the moon, you know, of the emotion. When actually the decisions are not best made from emotion at all, right? So it brings us back into the heart of the cups that we have there.
And I also feel because of you know, just putting it into astrology, like the Mother Mary vibe that you mentioned, it really takes me back into this reparenting your inner child, because it's the card number 5, which in natural zodiac is the house of Leo, which is your child, is your childhood. And that's where, even though we brought a lot of stuff with ourselves from past lives and ancestral lineage, we're working on collective imprints, but this is where it all began in this lifetime, you know, like what is the childhood trauma, what was your childhood like. I'm not saying everybody was traumatized, but I think majority of people on this planet carry some kind of trauma, but that's just my personal opinion, is not the fact. So anyway, so to me this card about the 5 of Cups, because every time we don't get what we want, it triggers that wounding, the child that wanted something and he didn't get it and he gets upset. So then the question is, why am I getting upset? Why am I attached to this something? You know, just like she's letting the dove go, let go of the expectation or let go of the attachment, because it might be based on this wounding. It might not be what is the best for you, but it might be what you know, because it helped to soothe you for all this time. But to a certain extent, was it serving or was it enabling? And I'm sure there was a time when it was serving, but then it became enabler, crutch, right? So with these 9 of swords, then, like what you said, the lunations, like, yeah, every month moon goes throughout your entire zodiacal chart, conjuncts everything, makes every single aspects to everything in your chart. And your moon is your inner world. So every single month we have the opportunities to reconnect with ourselves in a new way, to look at things through a different lens, you know. And it's also about that balance with, you know, the intuition and the logical mind, because the ego mind has a function. It is not completely redundant. It has a function. It's just like you were saying with the toddler. The problem is when the toddler takes over the house, right? Like, it's not about that it doesn't have a role to play, but who is in charge. So this is what I feel, that you know, when we get upset, when we get triggered because of our feeling getting hurt by, you know, what we want not being there, or our needs not being met in the way that we want them to be met, then it's the opportunity to question this narrative in our mind, and to soothe that inner child within that was dependent on something outside of itself, that always made it feel disempowered.
Yeah, and as you're just saying about it, like being revolving around the toddler or the child or the most emotionally the person in the environment that's going, it doesn't have to be a toddler. We're just using it for context because now I'm thinking about another side of something that was about family dynamics and people gathering at the holiday season, especially, and sort of being re-immersed back into those environments where different personalities and different players in this in the group, you know, everybody kind of tiptoeing around them or catering to them as well. It brings me back to like revolving around whatever the emotion is in the moment is not ideal. Not to make the choices when you're hangry, not to make the choices when we're in a phase that we know is very steeped in heavy emotion of any kind, right? Because the same can be true when we're elated and really happy and excited, or like we can act impulsive. We can do something hasty. So again, we're brought back to that balance point where I think that you know, just the phases are speaking to me there, where they say like, oh, it's only a phase. It's a season. It's a time that we're in. And while you're in it, how do you want to be in it? And that's where we're being directed to change our focus and not be so attached to the feeling of the loss, the feeling of, you know, whatever energy it's bringing, so that we can detach from a neutral place. And again, we can do so from that place where it feels much more balanced, and from a zero point that we can build from.
Yeah, and this is what I feel like we are all going through, like what we can observe on a collective stage, you know, world stage, what we are observing in our personal experiences. Like everything is coming up, and especially now with this culmination of the North Node in Aries and South Node in Libra, because they're going to move in January. Everything is coming up to the surface, especially now with Pluto being in Aquarius and going to make a trine to the South Node, like alongside with this new moon in Capricorn, actually at the end of the month. And we might remember that the entire 2023, Pluto was squaring the nodes, pointing to the South Node as the resolution node. So now we're going to be reaping the fruits of that labor, of that work, which is like, okay, well, you know, well, how much did we learn in the past year and a half, while the nodes were in North Node in Aries, self-discovery, South Node in Libra, not giving all your power to the external environment, not just people, but external happenings that has an influence over our thoughts, our emotions, everything. And literally, yeah, these all cards are speaking just of there are likely to be happenings this month, especially three lunations. Sounds very emotional to me. Don't
Yeah.
worry about Sagittarius season, still sounds very emotional, because again, going back to this Aquarian age and where we're heading, it is much more neutral. It is much more like what, you know, you and I, we were tapping into materials from other people that we hold in high regards. It is more about this unconditional love, which is not the love we understand, this overly emotional, dramatic love, right? It's this love of harmony, balance, equality, you know, this Aquarian age. Aquarius, yeah, we can say Aquarius very detached, not very loving. It is, but not in a way that we as humans of Piscean age conditioning understand. Because for us, it's like there has to be drama, there has to be a lot of tears, there has to be suffering, there has to be sacrifice. You know, that's the love we understand. that, oh yeah, if there are no tears, no suffering, no pain, no exalted emotions, just like what you were saying, none of this is healthy. It doesn't mean it doesn't have a place in our life. Of course it does, but how quickly we can come back to the neutral point, this is what we're learning. So how are we going to learn it? Through contrast, through experiencing the opposite. So this is what I mean. Whatever is going to be happening in this outer world, when we look at it through the lens of why is this here? What is this here to teach me? And what is it trying to teach us? Is this one major arcana we got going on there, which is this justice card, balance and harmony, and detaching from the external world to affect your inner world, because you're creating from inside out. So for as long as someone outside of you, whether it's your husband, whether it's your counselor, whether it's your prime minister, has an effect on your inner world, so speaking to this person or hearing news can just ruin your entire day, these people are creating your reality with your consent. So this is what we're learning to take our power back. Yeah, I'm aware, I'm listening, I'm not being ignorant, but to which extent I allow this external world to affect my creation. And this is the free will. And this is what we learn in. This is what we master in. This is the trine between Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini. They support in each other. And this is what the Pluto trine in South Node at the end of December will be like. So did you learn in this year and a half? What did you learn? So we're going to be put into test. And it's Capricorn New Moon. Are you ready to take the responsibility to create the reality you say you want? Because you need to master these lessons first.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And ultimately, whichever lens you bring it through is going to be the vibration through which you are having creation. So creation through the vibration that we're in. So, it's this, I think it's so, the way that the universe it's just amazing how it can feel very overwhelming. And yet we do get these ample opportunities to like sit with things and digest them and then look at them again and see them again. And we can feel very frustrated by that, but actually it's this opportunity for us to continue to refine. There's like this refinement going on before the actual jumping point, And again, it does feel like the energy of the compassionate, like the mother or the teacher, but there is this peace and unconditional love that's also not getting their feathers aren't getting ruffled by the tantrum, by the emotional outburst, by the extremes that it sees. I was also feeling, we were talking about when you were saying about like what you see in the external world, which I think is a huge point. Like we were really focused on like, well, what's going on with us internally? But obviously we know we're impacted by our environments. We're impacted by the collective energy, even if it's not yours, it's not your country, it's not your experience. We're all connected. And so you could be tapping into and experiencing things you don't even know what it's about. And so I was feeling like the justice card and the judge with the gavel, like order in the court, like all the court of public opinion. Everybody has something to say. Everybody wants to have their day in court, but you are the judge and jury of your life and your reality. And so all of those peanut gallery opinions and thoughts and, perspectives are what they are. Everyone has them. But when it comes to making a ruling as to where to from here, this is where we're being called to bring back the order within ourselves in order to really look over all of the evidence, everything that's being presented to the court here of what we are creating, that we are determining if we're ready to take responsibility then to take that out into the new. And of course, this is a 9 as well, this card. So it's carrying that frequency too.
Exactly. And there are these multiple things, which I want to mention. This is exactly why we have Mercury retrograde, like what, 4 times a year, right? 4 times a year, every 3 months. This is exactly why, like you said, we have plenty of opportunities to digest. So that's why, people get so frustrated about Mercury retrograde, just like, we get frustrated about the days getting shorter and they're being cold and stuff. And, if you like me, you try to avoid it.
Yeah. You just move away from it.
not pretend otherwise. But like we get all this like frustration because things are not just so what we want them to be, so we can carry on with our hamster wheel, not even looking left and right, just keep going, right? So this is why these things happen. Planets go retrograde because it's like, no, you need to go inwards now, reevaluate, rethink it, restructure it, whatever. And then the other thing, when you were talking about this, nurturing energy again, like what we've already mentioned multiple times throughout our videos, is that your higher self doesn't judge you, but also your higher self doesn't get, yes, ruffled, like, oh, poor you, you're going through heartbreak or you lost your job or something. Your higher self is like, you can handle it. You are a divine being, you are extension of the source. But we have to have the emotional experience. We have to give ourselves the time, space to digest, to integrate, to cry, to do whatever we need to do to get a hold of our emotions, not to regulate or suppress them, but to master them, to neutralize them. We need to feel it to heal it, right? We keep talking about it all the time. But in a sense, this is the unconditional love, that your higher self allows you to go through all that suffering because it loves you so much that it wants you to have the free will and to have that experience. And of course, source, because it's all connected, source, your higher self, yourself, it is all the same. So this is the unconditional love we're talking about, to love something so much that you let it go, fly free, like in the first card, you let it go and fly free and make its own free will choice, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this is what I mean. It's just it all takes us back to the same message, that we are in this amazing time in human history where we are co-creating a brand new reality, but through the same process we are healing everything to do with the past that is not a frequency match to it, and this is happening simultaneously. And yes, and this is taking us into the frequency of year number 9, which is the year of endings, and is the year when the North Node is in Pisces. So this is going to be the whole focus for the next 18 months, closing that old circles, cycles, chapters, tying up the loose ends. And if it requires flooding of emotion or natural flooding that will create the emotion in us, the universe is like, well, job needs to be done. How it's gonna get done, it's your free will choice.
Yeah. And again, it's so much about perspective, because it's like, yeah, as you say that, it's like the 9, the culmination and the ending. We see this card and we instantly react like, oh, ugh. This is like the card of like sleepless nights, insomnia, nightmare energy, but it's an ending. And it says darkest fears. So the ending, the culmination of being steeped in our darkest fears. This could actually be something to celebrate, because it actually denotes the ending of a relationship between us and our darkest fears as the source through which we make our decisions, because now we change our focus. And the other thing I was thinking about is this is about the time then that Chiron retrograde will end, right? Because Chiron stations direct, I think, like
No?
I thought it was like December 14th or somewhere in there.
Let me check.
Been long enough. It's been since July. I know it kind of runs in the background for most people, but I'm always very aware when Chiron is retrograde.
It is possible, but I thought Chiron was retrograde until January. But it is possible. I didn't check into everything to do with astrology for next year yet, I have to say. But now I'm curious. I want to check.
I want to know, but yeah, no, that's me too.
29th. 29th is stationing retrograde on the 29th, so right before the Capricorn New Moon.
Wait, it's retrograde now, right? And then it stations direct in
Yes,
mid-December.
Mars is stationing retrograde on the 7th, Neptune is stationing direct on the 8th, so right in between the lunations. Mercury will station direct on the 15th, and Chiron will station direct on December 29th.
Wow, that's a lot later than I thought. It's usually like mid-December. Okay. Well, what I was thinking about is through this, time of that, we got a good amount of time then. We had a nice extra time to sit with our wounds and really experience how those things can actually become power portals. Those wounds actually become the strengths through which, so the losses and the things that, we no longer have or perhaps never had actually can empower us to change our focus and make decisions not through fear or through patterns and, ways of being, but rather this new way that the new moon in Capricorn will say, like, are you ready to take responsibility, take the reins for this new way forward that's not utilizing fear as the main driver of where we're making our decisions from.
Well, to me, it makes perfect sense that Chiron is stationed in direct right before the Capricorn moon, but after the full moon in Gemini, because it's the illumination of the choice again. And to me, it's like, are you going to allow your wounded self to make the choices, or are you going to transform and transmute, just like that Japanese art thing, to allow that wound to become something more beautiful, something stronger? Just like, I know I mentioned this example before. When you have a scar, the skin is much thicker. It's much more stronger than your original skin. So that's it, So we all have scars we carry, whether it's from this life, past life, ancestors, we all have scars we carry. Which we can say we didn't choose, but our higher self did. So there must be a meaning and purpose to it, right? But this is actually your greatest gift to humanity, because if these things that wounded you, that hurt you, if you accept them and love them and turn them into something that you can help others with, that is your gift to humanity. So that is the choice. That is the Gemini full moon that's going to give us the choice with regards to this new story that we see in with the new moon in Sagittarius. This full moon in Gemini will then illuminate to you, because it's the full moon, it's the illumination, the opposition between sun and the moon. It will illuminate to you all these timelines that are now available. And then you as a Capricorn will then be able to manifest them.
Yeah, it gives the pain a purpose, and it again, it redirects the purpose, the focus, and also again, like the experience that you glean through having had those experiences, the choices you can make from there, the timelines that you can now see, you wouldn't have been able to access had it not been for that which left a scar, And I know that that can be really difficult, because when we get specific about the contents of the cups that are spilled, yes, we can go there, and you can go there and you can sit there and be with it and have all of that ego response and the lower vibrational experience of looking at what is not fair, right? In the court of the universe, to look at things that's not fair, but actually detaching from being, really having to see things from such that black and white perspective is where we're invited to change the focus and start to see that staying entrenched in these things that are a loss is not invigorating you. It's not creating energy, it's draining energy. So the things that are pulling from you, because it's like some other versions of this card, one of my favorites is the light seers, because you can really see what looks like it's like spiraling the drain. And she's really like connected into it, where it's pulling from her. So it's draining your energy to continue to focus on that which has gone or is leaving, versus pulling from that and utilizing from it what actually energizes you, inspires you, and gives you renewed focus and renewed purpose, so that you can go create with that. So it's not all for nothing. It actually served you. And then when it serves you, then it serves others, because when you're able to create from that place, it ripples out to everyone that, in ways that we can't even fully know. So it can actually be really beautiful.
Yeah, but I'm still feeling like this really like sadness. I'm feeling a lot of sadness with regards to these cards. But I know behind all of that is the opportunity to heal that inner child. I'm always coming back to the child, the child that just wants to feel safe and secured by you.
Yeah.
Because you are the only constant in your life, in this physical reality. Everybody else has the free will choice. People come and go, these contracts which we don't always understand, especially if we are in the midst of these things happening. Hopefully we will understand at some point later on down the line, but the learning is always just for you to find a way back to yourself. That's literally, like we all here just to find the way back to ourselves, way back to wholeness, and way back to one another, to reconnect and recreate the reality, to create a different world that is based on something different stories, different needs, different values. So it really is that there is so much grief and sadness going through our experience, individual and collective, that is connected to us understanding or understanding that the past really is gone. The world will never be the same as it was, and there is so much emotional attachment to that, because like there were aspects of it I enjoyed. I don't want it to be all gone. There are some aspects I enjoyed, but at the same time, like I said, going back to our higher self, going back to universe, the universe understands that, yeah, this is part of the human experience. You need to have these feelings, you need to master it, because then there will be these brand new horizons that you also going to enjoy, and that's going to make you happy and stuff, but you don't see them yet, because now we see what we losing. We don't see what's coming. It hasn't come yet. We just see what we lost. So that's what I mean. I just like, there is this like deep sadness, collective sadness, individual sadness based on whatever is going on in your life and what you're observing going on in the world. But behind that is this potential for these new levels of joy and happiness and experience. This something exciting that the higher self already knows about. The higher self is already excited, but in order for us to get there, we need to go through this.
Yeah, it's an important point, because this is not an energy to be rushed. That's the thing. There's always I have mixed feelings, because, one of the catchphrases with this card is crying over spilled milk. Oh, change your focus, come on, look at the bright side. There's a big cup over there that's brimming with possibility. Forget about these spilled cups over here. But that sounds really easy when you're detached and you're neutral and you're not emotional about it. But somewhere in between these two energies of reeling in fear and survival and having to grab onto things, and then also being like so cool and clear, and it's not personal, it's vibrational, is some real feelings, and some real grief and loss and sense of sentimentality as well, which I think is something that naturally happens this time of year. Whether you can't wait for 2024 to end, or you're, worried about what's going to happen in the future, or you're anywhere in between, there is this contemplation and reflection and culmination. All of that brings up a lot of bittersweet energy. And I think that that's very important to point out. So I think that's important. And I think it equals pulling another card. I want to pull a fourth card for highest and best guidance in navigating the emotions, the heaviness, the grief, however it's showing up, the best guidance to us from our higher self that is coming from that loving place. That's what I wanted to say. You say, oh, your higher self's already excited. Earlier, I was thinking like, yeah, they're excited. Oh, you lost your job? Yay. Like,
New opportunity.
Woohoo. Like, this is the thing that's really gonna really get you going, but not so fast, because I'm still having this human experience, and I'm still really, in that moment of extreme of one kind or another. So I don't know. I'm gonna pull another card.
I just want to like say to that, and you already heard me saying that, and I already said it in my videos, that you are ready when you're ready, not a moment sooner. So if somebody tells you to forgive, be grateful, or stop mourning over something, you are ready when you're ready. So if somebody tells you just get on with it, get over it and stuff, tell them to go and screw themselves. So that's what I mean. Only
on the gravel, order in the court. No, thank you.
That's the thing. Like, yeah, this serves you to change your focus, but only once you read it, and once you digested, integrated, and processed whatever you needed to go through.
Yeah, in the right phase. There's a stage, a phase, a season for everything. So, and everybody reaches those seasons at different points. So it's not to be rushed, nor should it be held back, because maybe you feel ready to step into something and other things in your environment are not. Again, that is what I meant by it's not personal, it's vibrational, because there's this shift that happens that is meant for you to be in alignment with whatever is for you, and yes, the public opinion is there and it can be loud and something that can be difficult to silence, and the ego mind too, like all of it, all of that chatter, but being able to again, step back, detach from that in order for you to come back to that neutral point so you can make a decision from there. And that's where I want to pull this card from, is that place of balance. I was just bringing in Archangel Raphael for balance, healing, and harmony. And it brings in healing, it brings in the heart chakra. But again, restoring that balance and harmony is what I was feeling. So I'm just going to pull that real quick, and then we'll just kind of sum up then for us these tarot energies so we can see our sacred destiny message as well. All right, let's see. Highest and best guidance for us in wherever we are. There, I'll take this one. We got the throat chakra.
Pick
The
your
five,
truth.
yeah. So your truth, your expression, I always say about these 9 swords, you don't need all 9 of those. You just pulled out that one thought, that one belief, that one idea of clarity for you, and work with it one at a time. And so the swords and the throat chakra energy, always very connected to me because it represents like the communication, the expression, the truth. But again, not just holding it all up in here or holding it all in here, expressing it and taking it out and being authentic and honest, whether it be an internal dialogue or external expression or however it may show up. We're being brought into what we've been swallowing, what we've been holding on to, what hasn't been able to fully express itself. And the 5 energy is, that's ending. And we're at this point of a change. Like it's gotten so uncomfortable to hold on to some of these old beliefs, these old ideas, these old ways that, as unsure as we are about the future or not knowing what it may bring, it's actually a welcomed relief from continuing to hold on to something that is no longer serving us.
Yeah, and it's interesting that the 5 of Cups and this one are both 5. They're connected. So
Yeah.
this is just pushing us to express ourselves, to speak our truth. It's again, is the 5th house, is the Leo, to find your authentic expression.
Yeah, authenticity, and there's the Aquarius again too, like, just really being able to express, and it's something that we're going to continue to refine. We're not supposed to step into 2025 like completely having it all figured out, all right? There could be a little, we're just stepping out in those new shoes, so it's something that will continue to unfold, but I think that feel it to heal it, and then we have to it's making its way out, it's coming up, and then be expressed, and then be given air so that it can carry us forward out of this place that we may be finding ourselves in here.
It's so interesting when you look at the cards, like, this 5 of Cups, like, this woman is feeling all these emotions that is triggering all these thoughts. And then this is encouraging the throat chakra to let it out. Yeah, literally like to let it out. Like, yeah, these feelings are coming up to the surface. Then the thoughts are resurfaces. The unconscious is becoming conscious. And then the throat chakra is like, okay, it's time to release it. It's time to actually say these things, potentially have a conversation with someone. And they say, really? You believe that? You thought that? Why you didn't say so earlier? Could have corrected you a long time ago or something. Because how many times, like, yes, the things that are in our head are much worse than the reality.
Oh yeah. Yeah. This is the stuff of the nightmares, which are always exaggerated fears, right? It's like, and it's funny because, and it's to laugh about it because yes, when you have the conversations that could be hard, that could be, sticky and uncomfortable and all the things, that's where the greatest healing can take place because you get to cut right to the chase. It's no more of this spinning it around and churning it around and just marinating in the muck and just letting the imagination run wild from that place, but rather clear the air, have the conversation, say the thing, but also, if that's not always an option or, whatever, expressing yourself can be done in any number of ways. I mean, this can just be you literally speaking aloud to yourself, singing, toning, like in any way that you can use the throat to express, can all be helpful to you in order to move through that when you can't have the conversation or it's not possible to have communication. Just accessing this place of, what feels stuck in between heart and head that we can clear out.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something
Wow.
I'm going through.
Yeah, I know. So hey, it makes sense. And so to whatever way that could resonate for anybody, it's like that's what you want to do is, we can sit here and tell you what we see and what we think, but again, in the public court, take from it what resonates for you and really just allow yourself to consider different angles, different possibilities, and then allow yourself to come to your own conclusions, ideally when you're not angry, when you're not in an extreme state, right? So that's, that you're making that choice from as balanced a place as possible, and again, it sounds simple and I know it's not. So it's just having some grace and compassion for yourself to just be where you are at your own pace.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, let's see
All
the
right.
sacred destiny.
Yeah, which I feel like the backs of these cards are channeling all the color scheme that we have here with these blues and greens and the yellows. This is such a beautiful deck. This
Sun.
is
That's literally what I saw yesterday on a beach. Exactly the same view.
oh wow, it's beautiful.
The sun over the waves, the sea breaking into waves.
Ah, that sounds amazing. We have really beautiful sunsets here this time of year as well, like with the autumn energy and the lighting. And unfortunately, the sun's setting a lot earlier in the day than I like, speaking of the time changes and the seasons. But embracing what's beautiful about it is, hey, we have beautiful sunsets.
And time for introspection.
Yes. In the darkness, we can contemplate and have introspection.
There's a womb space, the darkness. That's where everything is created in a
Yeah,
womb.
that came up this week, actually. We have a beautiful card that came up from the law of positivism. I can reach it, so I'll show. This came up in our week ahead card polls, and this was the oracle message that's talking about as I rest in the sacred womb, I heal. And it's card 29. So also bringing in that 11 frequency. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, here's our final message to seal in December energies for now, and then we'll be back to check in sometime around mid-month, and see how it's all unfolding.
Instagram. You can join us on Instagram Live and then
Yeah,
replay.
fun stuff. All right, let's see. Ah, gateway.
Oh, nice. The unicorn. Believe in the impossible. There you go.
Yeah, and we didn't even mention 1212 as well, like a portal, a gateway this month coming in. That's beautiful. I love that unicorn because again, that speaks to that clarity, that cutting through that's in the mind. Again, you don't need all nine, just the one, right? You just need the one sword. You don't need all those swords. That's not serving anymore. One at a time. All right, let me see what the message is in here.
The sacred landscape wants you to know.
Yeah. Now, I always tend to peek at the first part too, because there's always something that comes in there. So this card is known as the Enchanted Valley Gateway, and talking about there being places on the planet where the veil between the physical realms and the mystical dimensions is especially thin, and that these places are called portals, vortexes, or spirit gateways. And so bringing in mystics, visionaries, shamans, all traversing this realm and the next through those places. So it's speaking to, really connecting in with those portals. It's funny because that's what I said about Chiron retrograde is the scars, the place where the wound enters you, becoming a portal of power, becoming your powerful portal, like that you yourself are a gateway. The things that have come in and you have experienced, you have taken in, and now you're processing them and creating from them something of power, something of that can take you to the next place. So the sacred landscape wants you to know magic is afoot. Wondrous events are unfolding. Profound revelations and inner illuminations are close at hand. It is now much easier to manifest your dreams. This is an excellent time to take action on your visions for your future. A small amount of action now will generate bigger results. Gateways to spirit are opening, and there are places where the veil is especially thin. Fairies and elves are supporting you. Wonders are blossoming in your life. Watch for them. Open your heart to the hallowed, holy, magical energy. The more you become aware of the small marvels in your life, the more they will grow in magnitude. Yeah, it's that attraction. It's the expectation equals magnetization. So the more we focus on what went right, or what has served, or what can we draw from these experiences in order to and it's funny that I place this directly in front of that 5 of Cups. Change your focus. Okay, now instead of looking over all of that, we're preparing to point that unicorn horn at the future of taking some type of inspired action. And it can be small. That's the other thing, is it's prefacing that it doesn't have to be a big sweeping thing if you're not there. You know, just little steps at a time, little shifts will create these big waves that then ripple out to some really significant change.
Yeah, and I think this is actually what is the potential, you know, what's on the other side of it, rather than just focusing all our attention on the result of the past thoughts and beliefs, which is the current manifestation of reality, the after effects of the Pisces age. Focus on the future that you want to create, which again is not necessarily easy, but we all can be disciplined enough, or become disciplined enough, learn to be disciplined enough to dedicate few minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes every day, you know, like just whatever you can invest in yourself. You know, you're worthy to visualize this life you want to be experiencing, how it would feel, what it would, you know, what would you have in it, you know, like it's actually like the cards that have been coming up for me a lot recently were these cards with imagination and, you know, artists with a blank canvas with paints and stuff and whatever. It literally is that all of these things, which are the contrast, you know, is like literally everything that is in manifestation right now that at some point was desired by someone, otherwise it wouldn't exist. So this is like, okay, so literally universe is giving you, like, it's like you go to the, I don't know, to some store, and you see like, okay, yeah, this is all available over here. Now, is it what I want? Because if I don't want it, then maybe I need to open my own store and create what I want to sell, right? Or something. So that's what I mean. So currently everything that we experience in the world, in our life, and in the, you know, collective happening, everything at some point was desired. It served a purpose. Yeah, we might not look at it that way now, but at some point it did. So we go like, okay, yeah, this is the contrast to what I desire now. It is no longer a frequency match. Like you said, it is not a personal, it's vibrational, right? And now if I don't see what I want in my reality, then I need to go within and create it, right? So this is what I feel, that this unicorn with all these cards that came before, this is the contrast, this is the balancing of the scales of karma, balancing of the past, but at the same time, it's giving an opportunity for the 0 point. You know, these things are happening because the energy is stuck in time and space. It needs to be neutralized through us re-experiencing it again, feeling the emotions again, and dealing with them differently. And then, yeah, then you have the unicorn. You know, you can decide now this is cleared, now this is healed, now this is done, this is going to be the work for next year. North Node in Pisces, this is literally what we will be all doing, the clearing, healing, releasing, all of it. But on the other side of it, 2026, which is the year 10, the reset, endings and new beginnings, with everything moving into these fire and air signs, and the nodes moving into Aquarius and Leo in summer 2026, that's your unicorn. So depending on the work that is going to be done going into 2025 and going through 2025, then yeah, that's the reality that you will eventually will see manifested in the physical, in the tangible realm going forward.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, when people say that, like, it's like finding a unicorn is like this rare, mystical, magical thing to happen. But I think what that's saying is like, you'd be surprised, like once you peel back the layers of all of this, you know, all what's dense and heavy and not serving, and able to move through all of that in your time, at your pace, you know, all of that, that there's actually there you're going to find the unicorn in it. You're finding the magic in it. You're finding what's possible from all of that. And so again, it creates a thing of beauty and a thing of magical potential from the things that once looked very bleak or looked very insurmountable actually are right there, ready to be reimagined. And so it's giving us this window of portal, gateway, opportunity for us to step through that gateway between 2024 to 2025, with what perspective are we carrying? What are we amplifying? What are we focusing on? And then, building through there. And so, there is that bit of being, having a conscious awareness of what it is what we desire and what we don't desire, and finding that middle place and bringing that forward to create with that.
And that is exactly that. You just literally slam the nail on the head, or how is it called?
The gavel. Since I was talking about that, yes, hit the nail on the head.
It's a matter of perspective, because like as soon as you said that unicorns are rare, the spirit said, who said so? You're just not looking. It's the same like with magic. We can say, oh yeah, this ordinary life, this ordinary everything. Magic is everywhere. Magic, just the fact that you are alive is a miracle. Every single one of us, just the fact that we are alive is a miracle. So it's just a matter of perspective. And this is what I mean. We need to go back to this. If you talk to a child, everything is bloody magic. Everything is unicorns, they use they live off their imagination until program sets in and conditioning and all the rest of it. But yeah, small child, they don't see reality the way we do. But that what is like, we can say like, oh yeah, but that's not real. But it depends on your perspective, right? Like, what is real? What is the truth? This is all Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a mutable sign. So you say unicorns don't exist. I'm not saying you personally, but people would say unicorns don't exist. They're not real. They're rare, blah, blah, blah. Says who? The collective conditioning, the program, the matrix that tells you just go and live life, in this black and white concept of reality that is so bleak and makes everybody feel so apathetic and demotivated and just kind of like surviving, right? Yeah, that is one of the perspectives we can apply. So that's what I mean. So everything we're going through and everything we will be going through is just giving us, universe is just giving it to us all. It's saying you can choose this, but you can choose something different. But if you want to choose something different, you need to believe in the impossible and you need to create it. You need to create it from inside out. You need to tune in, you need to go within, and you need to see it being possible and tune into the frequency of how that feels. So you override the program, because the ego will tell you it's not possible. The ego is the archive of the past, is the program. So we need to override the program. And how are you going to override it? Through the inner work. There is no other way. Literally, there is no other way. There is no other way. If people think there is a shortcut, that, oh, I don't have time, blah, 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 it is a choice. You decide. If you don't have the time, then don't cry over spilled milk, right? Because it's a choice. We all have a choice. And if you want to create different reality, experience different reality, you need to make time.
Yeah. And it feels like I was thinking that, like, yeah, it's really not as elusive as the story has made it to be to say that unicorns are rare. So if I come to understand that there is a unicorn within there's always a hidden unicorn. What I was feeling is like, if I'm feeling really caught up in a mental storm of emotions or something that feels really heavy and difficult, where's my unicorn? My goal is to find the unicorn in this. So it's like I'm coming in there and I'm looking at this difficult thing. I'm facing this fear. I'm having this emotion. I'm moving through whatever it is because I'm looking to uncover the unicorn. Because if I know it's there, it's just a matter of me finding it. The unicorn represents the blessing, the diamond, what we're looking to get to is the crux of, what's contained within this experience, this lesson, this emotion, whatever it is, the gift. And I just think it's really funny because I was actually going to pull over the unicorn spray before I pulled the Raphael spray. So it's just funny because the unicorns were coming in all month. of November. So I do feel that there's this opportunity for us to look for something that we were taught to believe was rare or elusive, that actually that's up to you. You know, you decide. So not to say that it's all rainbows and unicorns, but behind every storm there is a rainbow, and behind all of this there is a unicorn. So look for the unicorn.
I feel like the whole unicorn is saying about free your imagination, because we know the horses are like freedom, right? And
Yeah.
the horn, the unicorn horn, represents your imagination. So, you know, with the law of attraction and the card of attraction we began with, yeah, just free your imagination. Everything is possible. And every time the ego chips in with the excuses, why is it not possible? Look at the emotion behind it. What is this thought, this belief system trying to protect me from? Because of when I got hurt when I was a kid, or whenever in the past lives, or my ancestors did, and this got passed on to me, right? So that's what I mean. So this is just like we already in energy of 2025, but like literally the obviously December energy, and at the end of December is the yeah, gateway. Is the gateway. And this is, yeah, this is like in these cards you have the theme for 2025. That's it.
Yeah, it's really set up right here. So it's just your choice, because this is really the point, and this is how we came into 24 too, is that whatever it is that you're stepping in with is the message that you're sending to the universe of what you wish to attract into your life. The word is attraction. And so what you want to attract in, so if it is more magic, if it is what seems impossible, if it is something that's fantastical, let it be that then. You know, free. And when you said that, of course, I immediately heard the song Free Your Mind by In Vogue. If I'm dating myself, I don't know if you know the song, and I'm not going to sing it right now, but free your mind and the rest will follow. So it's free your imagination, you know, let yourself play in the possibilities and play in the pain too, because there's something in all of it. And so, you know, again, just being there, seeking out the gifts and deciding what you're going to bring with you and what you want to attract into your life in the incoming year ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's, you know, just believe in the impossible is a it's a good message for 2025. No matter what's happening, no matter what your mind is telling you, no matter anything, just believe in whatever you want to believe. That's it.
Yeah, that's what it's about. It's about belief and the frequency that you decide to operate from. So more choice and personal you know, sovereignty when it comes to making those choices.
Well, that's what the whole sovereignty is about. That you're becoming the conscious creator of your reality, and then you're fully in charge. That's the full freedom. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
unicorn. Your imagination.
Yeah.
You and your
I love
imagination.
Yeah, when you said the horse, you know, that was the spirit animal for 2024. So when I did the year ahead reading at the beginning, and it was your animal as well,
Yeah,
right? I remember
that's why I
because
remember it. Like because I like I remember.
yeah, that's funny. Yeah, you got the horse, and we all got collectively when I tapped in for the year ahead, it was the horse for the freedom. And so I love the idea that from that comes now the unicorn, because it's that clarity, it's that awareness that now you're wearing it on the outside, you know, and that's this energy of expressing it, you know, just go ahead with your, you know, crazy unicorn self and just be whatever you can imagine, because you know it's like freedom, authenticity, expression, all the things. Yeah.
Awesome.
Wow.
I think
Yeah.
it's a good place to end with that message.
Yes, I think we can culminate now into wrapping it up to experience this last month.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Marissa, tell us what you got offering. What are your
Wow.
goals for the end of the year?
Yeah, we both have so much going on that's available. So this is such a great time to tune in to these different modalities and ways that we can tap into. So what I have going on over here is a very special offer right now as I'm recording this. And when we release this, it'll still be available on an early bird special on my favorite reading of the year ahead spread for 2025. So that's like this huge reading. We tap into the collective, your personal cards. There's 25 cards. So that's a big one. And booking before December 2nd is an early bird offer and also an entry into a gift certificate giveaway I'm doing for a 1 hour session with me and a bunch of different seasonal offers. I have spreads for Yule, for solstice. I have both winter and summer. We're depending on where you are in the world, and we're kicking off the December empowerment pack. So it's a great way to end the year empowered, is especially because there's a bonus reading this month with the Black Moon. So
Yeah.
yeah, just the link that I'll have here will show all of those seasonal offers, the specials, the giveaway, but the year ahead spread is the one to reserve because I do those in the order that they were booked through that first month of the year. And then the December Empowerment Sharecast is live, and that will be where I'll be doing. I have so many fun seasonal decks that I'll be diving into and stuff too. So that's a great way to connect over there.
Absolutely. And I was on the receiving end of the year ahead spread, and yeah, it was 100% accurate. We're still laughing about it, how accurate it is. So anyway, and yeah, and with regards to me, I have my 50% off annual sale, which is the biggest sale I'm running every year. This sale will not be available until Black Friday next year. So if you would like to get a reduced reading with me, then this is your opportunity, and the sale will end on Cyber Monday at midnight Pacific Standard Time. So you still have time to take advantage of that. And once again, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Marissa. Thank you, Card, and all the spirits that were around to deliver these messages. And have a wonderful last month of 2024.
Yeah, make it magical.
Exactly. Bye, everyone.